Republican Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. Good to see you this evening, Senator. Thank you for being here. I want to play one more soundbite. This one is from Beto O'Rourke, speaking during a keynote address in Arkansas. Watch this.
This country, though we would like to think otherwise, was founded on racism, has persisted through racism, and is racist today. But it was only until this administration and this president that racism was invited out into the open.
I mean, you know, collectively, when you look at the campaigning in South Carolina and you listen to that from Beto O'Rourke, this is a very, very strong theme that they are trying to win over African-American voters with. Will it work?
No, not at all. I mean, this is an opportunity for the Democrat Party to try to figure out a way to dupe the African-American voters, not only in South Carolina, but around the country, because they really have nothing but empty promises to run on. If you were smart and a Democrat running for president, you might want to focus on criminal justice. I'm sorry. Actually, we've already done that. President Trump passed the best criminal justice reform that has had a disproportionately positive impact in African-American communities. Unlike the 1990s when Joe Biden and the Democrat Party locked up more folks in the African-American community than we've seen in a long time. If you were running for president as a Democrat, you'd probably want to talk about the economy, but oh wait, you can't, because President Trump has created more than 6 million jobs during his administration. 50% of those jobs have gone to African Americans and Hispanics. But rather than that, maybe if you're running for president as a Democrat in South Carolina, you talk about the unemployment rate. But oh, can't do that either, can you? Because President Trump has brought the African American unemployment rate down to 6%, Hispanics down to 4.6%. So what do you talk about? You talk about Medicare for all. You talk about a Green New Deal. You talk about empty promises, because there's nothing left to try to reel in the African-American community, because President Trump and the Republican Party has done a very good job of focusing on improving the economic outcome of people who've been struggling for the last decade under the previous administration. So we now have a chance to have a contrast between the parties of the right side, and the party and the policies of the left going in the wrong direction.
All right. You know, Kevin Williamson, writing in the National Review, though, says that Republicans need to disabuse themselves of their self-flattering notion that this is all about racial hysteria and begin to deal forthrightly with the fact that African Americans mostly support the Democratic Party because they prefer the policies associated with that party to the ones associated with the Republican Party. What would you say to him?
I'd say hogwash. The bottom line is a very simple one. African Americans want the exact same thing that every other American wants. They want to see that the next generation in their family does better than the current generation. How do you do that? You create an education system that is sound, that creates good, positive alternatives in every zip code in this country. When you're focusing on unions and retirement and not kids in the education system, you go in the wrong direction. One of the challenges that the Democrats have in the poorest zip codes in this country, African Americans and Hispanic students do poorly because their schools are doing poorly. We have to have a serious conversation about that.
Exactly. And we know
HBCUs,
absolutely. And the teachers union has worked very hard to prevent kids from having any choice or being able to go to charter schools. And when they do, in most cases, they tend to have a good result.